it.
There you go.
Good.
You got it.
All right. Welcome everyone to the September 5th, 2025 City of Geneva IDA meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. And Irene, would you please read the mission statement?
Sure thing. The Geneva IDA was created to promote, develop, encourage, and assist in acquiring, constructing, maintaining, equipping, and furnishing certain types of projects and facilities to advance the job opportunities, general prosperity, economic welfare, and recreational opportunities to the citizens of the city of Geneva.
Great, thank you. Okay, as far as our agenda, there's additions and any deletions or corrections. I'd like to add Ryan Davis for a report on the, and we'll do it right after director's update. We could, right after Amy, we'll do have Brian for the Ontario County update. Anything else that everyone?
A nominating committee.
Okay, and where do we put that? Administrative, we'll do that nominating committee, all right? Okay, all in favor of, I need a motion to make the correct the agenda. Okay. RJ and Josh. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, so passed. All right, then we have some minutes here. We have the July 11th and August 5th meeting to approve.
You have the 5th, 8th, and 15th, and
Yeah, I didn't get all that. There's the 15th sign. All right. Right. All right. They kind of merged together when I.
yeah.
All right, so we have four of them up for approval. July 11th, August 5th, August 8th, and August 15th. Some of those were working sessions, obviously. I'd like a motion to approve, and then if there's any discussion, we could go into that.
I haven't had a chance to look over all of them, so I just want to put that out there. That's just me.
Is there any other reason to table these? I mean, it'd be good to first move them on, but do we have enough vote to overcome Josh?
I haven't had a chance either. I would trust your vote, but.
Yeah. Let's see.
I didn't attend the meeting, so I don't.
What's that?
I didn't
I
attend. the
missed
meeting.
one of them too.
I feel comfortable.
All right, okay. Well, then we will
Reviewing the meeting.
we will
They did the-
table them and encourage everyone to take a look at
I'll do
them.
our reading.
Okay, the financial report, Adam.
Okay, so no activity for the prior month. Still at a net loss on the year of about 48,000. There are some things outstanding. Have the deposit for the application fee, Lakeview, which is just $500. So that won't offset it too much. But I'll put that through. Current cash situation, 118,000. So sustainable for the moment. We'll keep plugging along there and making sure that we're staying on top of where we are financially. The budget from I believe it was last meeting, was uploaded to the state website, Paris. It's been accepted, approved, all that. So we are all up to date on everything related to that, which is kind of from a financial standpoint, our top priority, making sure the state is happy with us. So
Hey,
not much else to report.
right. A motion to approve the verbal financial report. Irene. RJ, all in favor, say aye.
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 All right. Next administrative thing is the nominating committee. We do have we have our annual meeting come up next month, which we will schedule and go over our, essentially the bylaws and certain, documents that we have to update or just approve. They've been updated recently, so I don't think there's many changes to them, but we will go through them we'll go through them at the meeting. And one of the things we do is the nominating committee. So it's Irene and RJ, right? Who's the nominating?
Right.
Okay. We want to set a meeting for that, or do you have a report? You want to have a brief report? How?
I guess, so because I do believe that our executive committee, which is Ann, Lowell, and myself right now, have to be reappointed every year. So my only thing for the whole board would be if anybody else is interested in any of those roles or, want to discuss that.
And then you're up for renewal.
And then the big thing is, and I want to make sure that I'm official in October, so if somebody would be willing to nominate me for another term, and so that council can vote on it at their meeting in October.
I'd be glad,
I expire at the end of this month.
I'd be glad to nominate you.
I'll second that if
We
you.
don't want you to expire.
Expire.
What is it, a
Okay,
3-year term? 2, 3.
I would have to.
5.
Yeah,
Five.
it's 5.
For 5 years.
I thought that was like.
Used to be 7, I think it's 5 now.
All right. No, you'll be,
And they're all kind of messed up. They're not necessarily superficial.
right.
Yeah, by design.
We have overlapping. And some people came on
Standard term.
completing someone else's term.
right, finishing out, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not a straight line. Okay, so we'll meet the executive, well, so you guys, what do you think the procedure should be? You want to just bring it up to the annual meeting for a vote?
Yeah.
Okay, so essentially that's the only activity is the executive committee renomination or reappointment, and then your position on the board. And at this point, is anyone interested in changes or adjustments or? Okay. Lowell, you're okay with all that? Did you hear it all?
Yeah, I thought I was on the nominating committee, but that's okay.
Oh, you are, he is too, yes.
Sorry.
All right.
Yeah, sorry, Lowell.
That's all right.
You're up there.
And has everyone heard from Catherine lately? She's not here today. I don't know if she's still living in the city and
Yeah, she is for a little while.
for no,
She's gonna,
She's in the process of moving out of her house and she was selling it.
is she?
Yeah.
So
She
maybe
has an
that's,
apartment in Corning.
yeah.
yeah, she's getting not legally part of this.
Yeah, her house isn't on the market yet, I don't think, but it'll be soon.
So then maybe we should reach out to her. Can you do that? As an amendment, just find out if she intends to stay on the board and have residence in the city.
Yeah.
Official residence in the city. Because we should probably then start discussing a replacement, so we have a full board here, okay?
So your terms are 7 years
7 years.
and you can't serve more than 2 successive terms.
How many years?
7.
Yeah, see, that's what I thought.
Wow.
So your kids, will you have graduation by then?
That doesn't include if you're filling someone
Right.
else's term, right?
Yeah. if
That's all we
you fill
get.
someone else's term, I think we've done
Right.
the filling of the term and then you have 2 terms.
Say it, two term.
So we must stay alive for that period.
Oh my gosh,
That's right. Do the best you can, will you?
At least we can
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
that's part of it, Will.
Requirement.
All right. So, we also have the discussion on a committee cocaine. Then we have a task, and I'd like to also, we got to reinstitute our executive. Like I said, emails last week ago, David had a schedule. It was
Yeah, I think it'd
He
be
went
appropriate to
through the whole year.
have a schedule, and I can do that. I can.
If you could kind of, do that, and usually it's about a week. He actually asked, he moved it up to 2 weeks before the meeting, but that way we kind of have, we're able to prepare for the meeting a little bit better than,
Was it agenda setting or was it executive committee, or was it both?
Was both.
Both, okay,
It's all in one.
all right.
Yes, it was both. Okay. If we can get that rolling, that'd be good.
Mhm.
And I think it's particularly important for the annual meeting that we kind of have our ducks in a row for that.
Yep.
Okay, report from Webster. I see that Miles is not on. The only thing that I need to follow up on a little bit further is getting keys.
Yeah.
From him. Well, particularly if we're going to be, well, two things. I want to set the time for a tour for whoever wants to go to see the building. And if we have opportunities through our economic development to show the space, it'd be great not to have to rely on, call Miles and set something up that we can take direct access. Well, probably the bigger thing is as we go into the next steps here on the GDC, I think we want to have access to the space so that we can do things like, meet with a grant writer and say, okay, we want to do this, and this is the portion of the building that's going to be looked at, whether it's heat or roof or whatever, whatever we want to do.
I spoke with Craig earlier this week. We kind of talked about it, but I can follow up with him and tell him
All
the
right,
board discussed this today. We need a
That's
set of
good.
keys.
we really, and it.
We can keep them here, and then if needed, we'll
That's right, that's right.
circulate.
Yeah, and that would be fine.
Yep, we'll do that.
If there's something that one of us has, we'll come and get them. You'll know where they are and I'll
Sounds
bring them
good.
back. I think that's good. So I think that's the report not from Webster's to Webster.
We
All right, the GDC management
You
next.
before on Webster.
was just gonna say that I think that's actually what you're getting into is the management next steps. So
Yeah.
I did talk with Craig about that as well. They're fine with the
Month to month.
month to month with a 90-day notification
Okay.
of,
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is as far as Webster, there is still an issue, and Joe Venuti talked to me about the grape residue being dumped and not, or actually getting into the septic or the sanitary sewer lines and messing the microbiome of the process or the water treatment plant. So it's just that they know it's happening, but because they can see it at the facility, but and it is messing things up apparently. But they're saying no, they're taking care of it. So it's just, and it's really up to Miles and or whoever's there to monitor that. And apparently they're not doing it as well as they should. So we need to, that also needs to be addressed further. Without a presence at the building or actually without having keys, it's kind of hard for us to do anything as a volunteer board, which brings to mind the role of the new assistant city manager. And I noticed in the paper, at least in your announcements, that she would be involved with this group.
Yeah.
And whether or not that would also involve anything to do with the GDC, or that's another.
So I think that's a discussion for this group is who do you want to provide your staff leadership to it? And is it still city or not? Is it its own entity? I know that was one of the things too I think on both sides. The oversight of making sure Paris and doing the financial part, doing the executive director part, and also all of the management behind the scenes on agendas and all of that. That's something the city has been contracted to do for some time. And then you contracted with Webster to do the building management. I think what you heard from Tom Mancuso, at least on the GEDC side, is that you have some options there to think about how you want to do that. As far as Taylor Young's, she'll be starting on Monday. Her role will be working with the city on the economic development side. If we're still contracted to do IDA and LBC work, we'll carry on with some of that. And what does that look like? It does not mean, that's a small piece of the total picture of what the city does. And I think that's another discussion this group needs to have is who do you want to staff it? You've done different models. When I first came on in the interim, you've had MRB lead it. I think you're at a point though, you need to decide on GDC management and that staffing piece. And we did put it in the budget for the city. I'm not trying to break up with you guys. I just want to make that clear. We did put it in that you would be continuing with that, but how we manage that may look different.
And right now, that's 25,000. Is that correct, Adam? That's what
That sounds right.
that's what our anticipation for David was. I mean, I don't know how you said.
I don't think it changed. I don't think we changed it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm pretty sure 25 is the number. If it's not, I will let everyone know.
You'll pencil it in.
It's, yeah,
I remember it's 25.
I think it is.
seen too many numbers.
I'll wait for Sabrina.
Yeah, we'll budget.
Well, I think, so if we're on to the management next steps and stuff, I know I was going through the minutes. When we did have our working session about a bunch of things that we can do, and I agree, I think the first step is to understand how we're gonna go forward, if it's with a separate company like Webster, or if it's something that we handle internally. I mean, not us as a group, but someone that we hired to do that, but as an employee of, and I see, Steve's not on the call, but can we hire, can the IDA have, I guess we can, right?
Hire staff.
You already hire staff.
Yep.
Your contract with the city is hiring staff. You can hire.
Sure, but how do we, I mean, there's things like payroll tax and stuff like that.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
would that be,
So you would likely try to do, there's lots of ways to do it, but you could hire your own staff, which would then mean you have to do all of the books and all that. Contract with another entity, you could do a consulting contract like
Yeah.
we did with MRB in the past. We could have that conversation if you wanted to do it with the city where they became an employee of the city.
Yeah,
What is everybody's thoughts on having another entity altogether? Because Tom seemed to be pushing like that idea too. So where it's a completely separate entity from the IDA that owns and manages the GDC and hires and does all of that. There was reasons, and I'm not coming up with the reasons in my head right now. We had reasons for that made sense.
well, I think in the conversation that Adam and I had, the pre-meeting that we had with Tom, he was talking about that type of position being bigger than the GDC. That there would be this would be a position that would manage other properties or other economic development opportunities, and it would be maybe tie in with the county a little bit, or the experiment station. He was saying, or any other types of development that we wanted to take on as IDA or as a city, that this person would kind of be in the center of that and manage that, show the properties, do all the promotion of it. But he also said you would jump into that. It would take time to do that, I think. I mean, that was, he said
yeah,
that.
like a true executive director type of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, would that be like what David does? He said, well, no, I see that as like the separate entity.
Yeah.
But
Right.
again, it was a suggestion. He wasn't saying that's what we had to do.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, that's probably, we do have a bunch of options here. I think some of it is contingent on, how much money we think we can spend and how do we support it. We are spending the money, but are we,
Yeah, what revenues do you have coming in? I think is a bigger.
Yeah.
Challenge.
correct? So I think that is the first thing, and then it'd be interesting. Is there any possibility, and this is just an idea, of instead of talking with the city about increasing the rent for the DPW space, is actually having the DPW hire someone that would be part of their staff that would also manage at least the physical side of the building. I mean, it would be,
I don't think that anything.
it'd be a way of kind of balancing out the rent situation that we've been talking about, but where maybe there would be someone under Joe's direction, that would have
manage the maintenance part of.
The maintenance and possibly even the promotion of it, you know, if we needed someone on site, someone,
I don't know.
because Bob Ritter's there part-time and certainly Miles is there,
Yeah.
even less. But, it would just be
They
instead
need
of,
to pay for a staff to do that. That's what you're asking instead
kind
of,
of, instead of saying, okay, you owe us $2 more per square foot. For the space that we, you know, that we.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I mean, obviously, there's some things we'd have to iron out. It wouldn't be related, but.
yeah, well, it'd have to be, but, yeah, I don't know how we would,
I know you got budget things and everything, and it's a more complicated thing, but, you know, instead of us hiring, or maybe
yeah,
the DPW hire someone that can do this job that we're looking for as part of the compensation for the space that you guys are using. I think we are using it. Not separating myself from the city.
well, I think the challenge with that is,
That would be more buildings and grounds, which would be Taylor anyway.
yeah, that would be Taylor anyway. Buildings and grounds won't be reporting to Joe.
So
I think if it's a direction that this board wanted to go down, we would
have the initial
look into it and figure
conversation.
out what was needed.
I think I don't know that would be a long-term strategy though, because I don't know that the DPW will always be in the GDC.
Sure.
unless it was made to be more useful for you, you know. I mean, if we took the building down or took sections of the building down, that would be a good place to build the building.
Yeah.
Unless you wanted to.
I know, we have to take a building down. I think that's the other piece is which investment makes the most sense for the city right now? Is it the demolition of the building or is it rental?
Sure. And it's, at a certain point, it's kind of, I mean, yes, technically we own this, but it's kind of above what our mission is, you know,
Mhm.
this type of
Absolutely.
thing. So it's a bigger question. So some of these preliminary things that we're trying to talk about are kind of stopped by kind of this first step, really, you know, and so what I think I suggest is maybe our GDC committee or whoever wants to join, that we meet with you and Taylor when she's, and maybe. you know,
Yeah, probably.
Bring her up to speed and try to have us voice our concerns of what we're dealing with.
Yep.
Maybe some new energy.
Yep.
I'm certainly tired of it, so.
You know, what Tom said was that you need a passionate person who would take on this building, and they would have to have the credentials and the ability to do that and commit a long period of time to it. So I don't think you could just hire an extra mechanic and make him available.
I agree. And that's one thing that Tom said is you really want someone that's going to help with the incubation part of it, where they're essentially a business counselor. That's a special skill, not just selling the space, but also working with a new business that's going in there and helping them kind of get through the stuff and helping them grow. But I think some of this ownership and direction and management of it is first before we talk about putting up partitions and fixing the roof and changing the electricity or whatever.
Sure.
Of course, maybe we'll sell it.
What's that?
Of course, maybe we'll sell it the next
I
farm.
wait for, yeah.
Any news on that front, that
No,
the party?
no. Trying to get some keys.
Okay.
All right, okay, so could we set a meeting up, Amy? Would you be able to do that with Taylor and
In
then?
mid-October.
Yeah, in October, sure.
Yeah, it won't be until after your annual meeting.
Yeah, I thought Monday or Tuesday. we would.
Yeah, I know where you're going.
You're back in town by October?
Oh, yeah. Back on the 7th, so short term.
All right,
Okay,
so we'll do that. It'd be good to have some.
Yeah.
Some more. I mean, it's a continuing discussion. Everyone needs to think about it, but I think we've got plenty to do here. No vote on that. Okay, agenda items. Lakeview Loft pilot application, was stated in the paper, that's been not withdrawn, but ask us to table it until they know what they're gonna do, the next steps. They kind of, I guess their application deadline was the 11th, which they didn't feel that they had time enough to regroup and kind of figure out what they were gonna do. So they've asked us to just hold the application until they do that. And I believe their intent is to reapply next round. I don't believe they're abandoning the idea of the project from what I understand. But you know, it's open to their decision. But as far as we're concerned, the pilot, we're just going to hold the application till next year. I mean, it'll require a new application when they do it because this one would have timed out, but it's an open issue. The sales pilot application is before us. Adam sent a bunch of questions that we're waiting for that Andy Timon said we'd have answers to
Today, yep.
and then we could, after that, we receive that and stuff, we'll set the public hearing.
Yeah, so I sent the information to MRB to do the cost benefit analysis.
Right.
They came back with questions, which I included Stephen on, our attorney, and sent to Massa and Andy Timon. They were going to get those questions answered and back to us today. Then I can get them to MRB and then they'll get us the cost benefit analysis, I would assume early next week. That's what they had said, a couple day turnaround. And then we can get that circulated to the board and we could discuss then in October.
I know they're anxious, but if that sounds like the timeline, we would then have our discussion next month, set the public hearing after that. For a vote the following month, November. I know you said to Andy that it would be October most likely.
And he said they're not in a rush right now.
Okay.
So
That'll be kind of our schedule.
I think it should work
What
fine.
would be is to get the cost benefit analysis and have a discussion next meeting.
Mhm.
And then set the public hearing for between then and our November meeting.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like that should be a problem
Yeah, okay,
for anyone.
all right. And okay, on to the next thing. Is there any questions about either Lakeview or DeSales at this point? Okay. Director's report, Amy, do you have anything to update on?
Sure, so you will also likely be hearing about the 585 Exchange OEO, former OEO site. This is being developed in partnership, the city to contract with a preferred developer group. I always forget one of the preferred developers on this, but Pivotal is the main piece of that. They'll be having some public meetings to talk about what their project is planned. At this point, the first public meeting will be at 11 a.m. on September 25th at Bozzuto. And it'll be for really the downtown residents to see what the idea is. It's a housing project, the number of units. And again, these are design phase. And I think that's a piece that people often get confused. Is these are design sketches, these are rolling amounts, are between 60 and 70 units. And it will be housing on all of the stories of that. I think it's technically 4 stories is the current design, but 1 story is at grade because you have the back side. And so it goes up 3 stories. But that you can view their initial designs and what that project looks like on that date. And then there'll be another date in October, which will be an evening meeting. And as well as I think we'll have some of the boards for charrette at the farmer's market so people can give their feedback there. They will be then moving forward to planning and zoning board as well in the coming months. And they will likely be appearing before you guys with an application as well. So that project should be coming up. We already talked about, we did hire Taylor Youngs, will join the department or the city on Monday. She will be overseeing we're participating on, not all overseeing because she's the assistant city manager, which means she'll be overseeing a lot of things, but her main points will be planning and economic development, buildings and grounds, code enforcement, and one other, recreation. And so she'll be taking on kind of that community vitality role and understanding those components, marrying some of them together.
It's a nice phrase.
I like that too. I'm writing it down in fact.
And then we will be also bringing on another staff person that'll be not a department head, but a more junior staff person that will also help with the economic development and recreation realm. And this comes at the time when we lost 2 department heads. And so instead of replace those department heads, we are removing those department heads and having an assistant city manager and then a more line level staff to assist as well. So lots of changes.
Right, any questions of Amy?
I just have a quick question on the OEO site. Is that housing designated in any way as
It'll be workforce housing.
workforce housing?
So they'll be seeking home and community renewal, 9% tax credit, I believe, the similar funding mechanisms.
30-year pilot.
I don't know if it will be or not, it may be. Because that falls in alignment with.
Their
home and-
mandate, yeah.
Yep, home and community renewal.
Heard enough about that. Any questions, Wolf? I don't mean to exclude you.
No, that's okay. Were these going to be 1 and 2 bedroom or is it all 1 bedroom? I just was curious about that.
It's early to tell how many will be 1 and 2, but they do have designs for that. At this point, it's still designed, so they are just hearing community feedback, similar to like the Jackson Street project. I would say this one's actually probably further along than that one because there's actual concepts. Jackson still does not have concepts. They have concepts from other places, but not local concepts. And they also will be able to talk somewhat about their market study. They did a pretty thoughtful market study on who would live in this community and what that looks like. I think that's one of the pieces when we talk workforce housing. Those are our Geneva residents. When we look at median income, they fall into a lot of this workforce housing.
Great, thanks.
Okay, next on the agenda, Ryan's here. We don't mean to skip over you every meeting, to kind of back in the corner and I forget that you're here, so as long
Have any news?
as you made the effort to come, I do invite you to the table and give us what's happening with the county.
So you'll hear an awful lot of noise out of both the Board of Supervisors and the county IDA and LDC about energy capacity within the county. The LDC will be much more local coming up. Board of Supervisors during this week's round of committees took through a draft for comment on a resolution, basically calling for more infrastructure investment within Ontario County. It was designed to put a marker down, just stating that the Board of Supervisors recognizes there's a problem. And we're going to use it as the legislation behind everything that we try to advocate for. That way it's not just me talking, which I appreciate. I would encourage, and I'll send it to Amy if I haven't already sent it out. NYSEG and RG&E, NYSEG on this side has an energy intake worksheet for both commercial and then one for residential development. It's not a useless piece of paper. It does put you in the queue, I guess, kind of. We found out more and more. This is something that the utilities have been pushing developers to do early. I would suggest that any developer looking to build anything outside of a shed in their backyard, and I only say that a little bit tongue in cheek, fill that out before they fill anything in. I've told every developer that we work with at the county level, save my application for anything for second. Do the energy intake first.
Last meeting, we brought up about the availability of electricity in our city and in our, where the IDA operates.
Yep.
And particularly, and we mentioned the GDC has upgraded services and stuff, but as far as you know, from your survey of what's going on in our city, I mean, is that something we can market because other you know, towns and whatnot, any developer goes there, they have to make that investment or of sorts to get what they need. We have it, don't we?
We do at the GADC is the first step. We have been told we still have energy for other projects and capacity, but I think what Ryan is cautious about is other communities in Ontario County were told the same thing until it came the time to.
Got it. Yeah, so it may be a fallacy. I mean, we're good with the water and sewer and stuff like that. We're making upgrades to, and that was something that was talked about 3 or 4 years ago by the IDA. Do we have that infrastructure to provide to developers? And now obviously this is raised its ugly head and it's been going on for a while, I realize, but it's kind of become
Yeah.
critical. So you're not sure that we actually have it other than.
I don't have any good information from the utilities about the east side of the county, which is something that I have talked about pretty regularly with not just the utilities, but the Public Service Commission, the governor's office and our state electeds. It's frustrating because I can't answer that question. I guess the best way to put it, it's gonna sound really bad, but so is everything else I say. There isn't a spot in Ontario County what I would market that we would have available power.
Okay,
Just coming to these meetings and listening and following along the paper, you got somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 proposed units for development within the city. That's a lot. That's a lot.
we didn't say they'd have electricity. I didn't see any of the applications said that they were electrified.
That's true.
That's.
I would just be cautious on how you try to phrase that you have power.
Okay,
Ryan, what are your developers seeing as far as expense for connection when it does get to that point too? Because what we heard, I think it was at the IDA Academy, right? That like it was exorbitant, like across the state, developers are seeing just exorbitant costs that they didn't anticipate.
It goes literally from 0 to 25 million.
Right.
yeah, no.
And that's one project
I can take it through project by project on because I've asked some of these developers that I work with a lot, I've asked them to just copy me on everything so I can start to see 2 things. 1, what the answers are, and 2, how long it takes to get them. There was a 34 unit townhouse development on Route 96 next to Burnberry and Phelps. They were given a tentative will serve based on the project intake worksheet. Now, after the project intake worksheet, this is a new step, or at least one that we didn't know about. Then you have to go on the builder's page and fill out another level of detail. And then they actually come back to, yep, you're good, but they got a tentative will serve from the utilities. Uptown Landing in Canandaigua, which is 650-ish units. That was given a range from $8.5 to $25 million. They said that they could serve the first 60-ish units based on the infrastructure that's currently available. We continue to work with the Public Service Commission, the governor's office on that development. There's 125 unit development on Lester Road in Phelps, so on the other side of the village. We don't have a cost estimate yet, but we know that there will be what they call a violation. The way it was described to the developer was the substation had headroom capacity, which means they had enough power there, but the circuit that feeds that substation did not. So it's a multi-layered problem. It's a little bit distribution, it's a little bit transmission, and it's a little bit just straight up capacity on. So, there's that. Yeah,
That kind of kills any type of economic development, which is our business.
kind of.
I mean, I'm sure you do.
I mean that seriously. When talking now, because of the extreme nature of the issue that we are facing in this county, I don't think you can say kind of. I think it is.
It does.
This is going to kill economic development. This will kill residential development because we already have.
Right.
But you can't. mince words anymore, and that's not a great position to be in.
You feel that there's a solution at hand? It's just to take time to work through with the city and the electric companies?
Yeah, I'm hoping when I leave here today, I trip over a giant bag of money.
Mhm.
No, there is no solution. This is a problem that has been well in the works for decades because of a few different things. State energy policy is one of them. Just the way the power utilities are set up in New York State, this was always a possibility.
Do you see that microgrids would be a solution where just developers say, you know, forget those companies, we'll just take care of it ourselves?
I mean, it is an idea.
I mean, I'm just,
The developers, the problem that you have there, talking to some of the developers, you'd have to give away so much of the land to produce the power that it doesn't pencil out.
Right.
I mean, I know there's storage issues and things like that, but I mean, that's kind of what the engineers from CNS, one of the suggestions that we try to do that at the American Can.
Yep.
Is to come up with our own collection of energy, production of energy, and that there's no distribution. It's there, you know, it's by and that, we'd love to be a test case, so we're gonna, but that was, she thought there was grant money for that. And that we'll just kind of, you know.
Yeah.
Forget about, NYSEG and whatever they're protected by, you know, that's causing this problem. I mean, it's a problem that's gonna stop us from being in business, obviously.
Right.
And
we've seen this happen, spread out through different regions. It's happened in different regions in the state already. And
I said, we were at a thing in Ithaca, you put on the presentation for Alliance Bank. There was, I mean, that both ways, that was the majority of the discussion was about that.
Yeah,
Well, and that's what I
one
think.
out statewide issue.
Yeah, I forgot, the root of the problem is how to fund the upgrades, the infrastructure upgrades,
Right.
right? Like, that's the root of the problem. So does it come from the developers, or do they just increase current
So as written right now,
customer
yes.
bills? So,
and currently,
The way the
right.
tariff is written
Right.
is if the developer could sell 300 lots with nothing on them for the money that they would sell for the houses, technically the utility would have to provide safe and reliable power to each one of those units.
Yeah.
But that's not how developers work. They develop and then they sell them off. So that becomes the end user. I have not yet found the avenue that the money comes out of shareholder. It is ratepayer or taxpayer, which is, last I checked, the same person.
Usually.
So there just isn't a simple solution. There's not a lot of good news.
And Ryan, you're working multi-tier on trying to at least provide it. I know every time I see Pam, she's been pushing this. We're pushing it as far as we can. Again, we don't have, I know you've been working on it, good information on this side of the county.
No, it's very
Because
unclear.
I think, and that's until some of our projects that have been on hold go through, we're not gonna know, because they're putting in all of these pieces of paper, and it's not until the actual moment when it comes on,
That's when it hits the wall.
when it doesn't come on.
That's how I would strongly encourage anybody to fill that sheet out immediately. And then at least somebody puts eyes on it. And when you're doing it, if you wanna share my email address to have them copy me on it, I would.
Yep.
It seems to be scattershot. We had 3 different issues that we were working with utility on, questions, open-ended questions, and it wasn't until after a couple headlines that we got word back, each developer got word back. One was good news, I guess, the other one was bad news, and the other one was just news. So it's a bad situation. We were promised in February, capacity summit, for this side of the county.
Mhm.
It's September, I heard. So that's not happening. we will push through the LDC. A more vocal call for exactly that. I can't do my job without knowing where it's from. And I also can't help municipalities direct taxpayer money for water and sewer in a proper way. My fear outside of just not having power is we have a municipality who, you know, applies for 1 million different grants, gets them and starts running water or sewer down the road that
Power.
they're not gonna have power there anyway.
Jeez.
Where we could have gone the other direction. So
I think the optimistic side to this for the city of Geneva is because one of the challenges we often have is we're already landlocked. So we've developed a lot of our space. We don't have a lot left. So we are less likely to be running new of other things in some areas. I mean, some places, the Habitat properties on Crystal, we're gonna have to run water and sewer there. They're gonna be residential houses. It's totally different. That's different. That one can probably move.
you do have the advantage of, there's only so many places you can go.
Exactly, which is never our advantage.
It doesn't seem like an advantage,
But
yeah.
with a power challenge it is, sorry.
So just for some just clarity, so we went to this IDA conference and the individual from the Public Service Commission more or less stated that it wasn't necessarily the amount of power that is the issue, it's getting the power to where it needs to be. Is that still accurate? Or what-
Distribution, yeah.
Distribution, like what are you seeing for our county?
So I think that is something that the Public Service Commission can say. Look. I'm gonna editorialize a little bit because I happen to have just enough knowledge as far as electricity goes. It's dangerous.
Sure.
Sometimes quite literally.
As an electrician.
You can't, if I was the Public Service Commission staffer, I would not say that with a straight face, because you can't take that amount of power production offline and this amount offline and replace it with this amount.
Right.
And say you don't have a production problem.
Right.
That's not accurate.
Okay.
Yes, technically the grid has enough power on it.
Okay.
But I have some anecdotal that would say that it does not. Talking to guys in the field, when you're replacing, doing the overhead streetlights and you have to take something off, you're worried about doing it during summer peak time because
Yes.
you'll lose. There was articles, I think Finger Lakes One had a couple of them maybe 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, whenever it was just ridiculous hot, that 10-day stretch when it was crazy hot. They were close to outages. They bumped right up against capacity downstate. So no, I don't think that statewide production is not an issue. I think that's not genuine.
So what if, so say we talked about single family residence development, generally speaking, let's say when a developer goes in, like you were talking about, there's 150 lots. And the developer's goal is to develop the lots with the associated utilities, with the roads to it. And then usually the developer who owns the plots usually also owns a construction firm and they build the homes on the lots. Not all the time, but generally speaking, that's a structure that's very common. If it's just a land development company or whether it's a land development and a builder, what if there's a shape where counties, generally speaking, require letters of credit to ensure that the utilities are going to be run to each, let's call them pads or each lot, because they want to make sure that it's done. What if there's a shape where the IDA and the LDCs work with the developers, especially in the single family realm, where there's a requirement for, and I don't even know the legality of all of it, but this is just an idea, knowing that there's a requirement for a letter of credit in which the developer has to secure somehow with electricity, with sewer, with all the kit and caboodle. Is there a shape where that's a partial subsidy, or if that's not a partial subsidy? I feel like there's something there. I don't know. The way that these lots are financed, if the developer just wants to develop the lot, and knowing that it's a requirement for a municipality to have usually a multi-million-dollar letter of credit, can we potentially get around the that or something to have electricity run, so the connection is not a financial burden borne by the developer themselves. You know what I mean?
No,
No.
No.
Okay.
no,
Very good.
no
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, there-
I was trying and I was like, maybe they're, and no, I don't think there is.
like I said, short of the developer selling everything without having anything there.
Yeah,
Can they sell it with water, sewer and a
Nope,
tag
that is
without
developed.
electricity?
that's developed.
And also,
Okay, because that
you
has to
would,
fall through.
you would,
No,
I would
no way.
not want to place that burden on the developer anyway, because they'll just go somewhere else. And also, it would be tough to get, like a development loan is a hell of a lot harder to get than every other part of the development. And if you are going to require for them to, in order to get the development loan, you have to guarantee that you're gonna get power there. Banks are smart enough to know that that's not a guarantee that any developer can actually make. So they would probably not be able to get the loan to develop the land in first place.
What if there's a shape where developers start, so they can't sell plots of, it has to be either a raw plot of ground with, because most commonly what I see is all the utilities are done.
Mhm.
That's what I most commonly finance, especially if they're single family developments.
Right.
There's no shape where they can do water and sewer and not electricity at all, because then NICEAG would be legally obligated to provide it. There's no shape there at all. Okay.
No,
Nice
nice work for a loophole though.
We actually, it's an interesting question because it was something that we talked about. So the LDC has asked for an extension of services from Hodgson Ross because they have two attorneys that deal with this. This is what they do. And we were joking about it during one meeting, like, wouldn't it be great if?
Mhm.
But they have seen no evidence that that's a thing that.
Can be done.
Yeah,
Mm,
there, a lot of people would be out on a limb there, right? So that's why the uncertainty would kill the development, but.
Unless there's
I
a
should-
financial institution that really wants to go out on that limb.
Yeah, right. I'm guessing that the rate might be a little high.
Yeah,
Yeah, the return on investment might be a little challenge there, but.
I think it's important to go back to your original question, because I did talk about the production part of it, maybe more than what I should have. There is an awful lot of distribution and transmission issues. This $25 million price tag for Uptown Landing was wire and poles for 4 miles. And so that is a real issue. So when they said that during the IDA conference, that is true. It's just not accurate to say that there isn't a production problem, because just because it's not a problem today doesn't mean it's not a problem. We got here by that attitude exactly. So there'll be more to come. You will hear me talk about energy probably for the remainder of my career. Which is 17 years. This will be a problem. Right now, the best answer we've gotten is continue to apply for grants and hope that that's enough. We'll find out. But
Hope's not a strategy.
really, it's encouraging though, because I try to leave with something positive. It's 200+ units-ish in the city of Geneva that developers are looking to build. That shouldn't be ignored. Because that didn't happen last year. Right, so developers have noticed the county and the municipalities within the county that when they say that they're pro-housing, for the most part, they're being forthright. You've all worked with developers to varying degrees. So, it's encouraging to know that we're marketable in that way. It's just a hurdle, and we'll figure it out.
All right, thank you for sharing such uplifting.
You put them on the agenda.
Might be the last time, just.
You guys, strategic plan, I should talk about the strategic plan. We are in the final phases of getting a draft together, so I will share that with all of you.
Okay,
We have
that'd be great.
something, we're haggling back and forth on language, but it's coming.
Okay. All right, We have a couple brief things to updates that we're gonna go into executive session. I'd like a motion to enter executive session to discuss sale or lease of real property held by the IDA. Irene and RJ, thank you. And you tell us when we can.
Let me just like cut the YouTube.
Yeah, probably.
All right, I'm gonna end the YouTube and then I'll have to bring it in. Well, it's on
Okay.
Zoom, but well, you might have to rejoin the Zoom.
Okay, Lowell?
Okay, I can figure that out, I think.
Okay.
You got here once, you can do it again.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
See you later.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
Adam knows this.
I think you need to have a vote to go into executive session.
We did.
We did. We
I
did.
just heard that, I didn't vote yet, so,
Oh, would you like to go into executive session?
yes.
Okay, thank you.